Today, we gather to discuss an issue that has plagued humanity for centuries: anxiety. In our modern world, where society moves at an ever-increasing pace, where expectations are high, and where uncertainty looms over every decision we make, anxiety has become an unwelcome companion in our lives. We feel its grip in our moments of doubt, in our failures, and even in our successes, where we fear losing what we have gained. The great theologian and philosopher Tillich deeply explored the nature of anxiety. He did not view it simply as an occasional discomfort or a psychological problem to be medicated away. Rather, he saw it as something fundamental to the human experience. Tillich taught that anxiety is not merely an obstacle, but a condition of our existence, and understanding it is the first step toward overcoming it. Today, let us explore his wisdom and learn how we can navigate and triumph over anxiety in our own lives. The nature of anxiety. The three forms. Tillich defined anxiety as the awareness of our finitude, the recognition that we are vulnerable, limited, and ultimately mortal. He identified three primary forms of anxiety that shape our human experience: the anxiety of fate and death. This is the most fundamental anxiety, rooted in the knowledge that we will one day die. It is the fear of non-being, the dread of ceasing to exist. This form of anxiety can lead us to despair or push us toward a deeper engagement with life. The anxiety of guilt and condemnation. This anxiety arises from our moral consciousness. It is the fear that we have failed, that we are not good enough, that we have strayed from our purpose. It is the fear of being judged, whether by society, by others, or by our own conscience. The anxiety of meaninglessness and emptiness. This is the existential anxiety of feeling that life has no purpose. In a world where traditional structures are fading, where religion, community, and shared values seem to erode, many individuals feel lost, as if their existence lacks significance. Understanding these forms of anxiety helps us recognize that they are not simply personal afflictions, but are deeply rooted in the human condition itself. The question we must ask then is, how do we cope with them? Coping with anxiety, Tillich's path to courage. Tillich did not offer simple solutions to anxiety. Instead, he proposed a way to confront it, a way of courage. He defined courage as the ability to affirm life in the face of anxiety. To Tillich, true courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. Let us examine three key ways in which we can cultivate courage and face anxiety in today's world. Accepting our finite nature. Many of us spend our lives running from the reality of death and suffering, but Tillich encouraged us to accept it. When we embrace our mortality, we free ourselves from the fear of the inevitable. This does not mean we should live recklessly or despairingly, but rather that we should acknowledge our limits and live fully within them. Today, we live in a society obsessed with youth, perfection, and control. But the truth is that none of these things are permanent. Learning to be at peace with our limitations allows us to focus on what truly matters: our relationships, our purpose, and our faith. Finding our ultimate concern. Tillich argued that anxiety flourishes in an empty soul. When we lack a deeper sense of purpose, we become vulnerable to despair. He proposed that every human being must have an ultimate concern, something greater than themselves that gives meaning to life. In today's world, many seek meaning in wealth, status, or pleasure, but these things are fleeting and ultimately unsatisfying. Instead, Tillich urged us to ground ourselves in something eternal, whether it be faith, love, or the pursuit of truth. By committing ourselves to something greater than our individual existence, we transcend the anxiety of meaninglessness. The power of faith and acceptance. Faith, for Tillich, was not blind belief in doctrine, but the courage to trust in something greater than ourselves. He called this the courage to be, the ability to affirm our existence despite uncertainty. This kind of faith is not just religious, It is the deep trust that life, despite its difficulties, is still worth living. In today's world, where skepticism and doubt are rampant, faith allows us to endure. Whether through spirituality, community, or self-belief, faith gives us the strength to face our anxieties without being consumed by them. Practical applications for today's society. Now that we have explored Tillich's philosophy, how can we apply it practically in our modern world? Embrace vulnerability. Rather than hiding our fears or pretending to be invincible, we should embrace our vulnerabilities. This allows us to build authentic relationships, where we find strength in community rather than isolation. Seek meaning beyond materialism. Society teaches us to find worth in achievements, possessions, and social status, but these are temporary. Instead, we should seek meaning in creativity, relationships, and service to others. Develop a spiritual practice, whether through prayer, meditation, or reflection. Connecting with something beyond ourselves helps ground us in times of anxiety. Cultivate resilience through action. Anxiety thrives on inaction. By taking small steps forward, even in the face of fear, we reclaim control over our lives. Tillich's teachings remind us that anxiety is an unavoidable part of the human experience, but it does not have to control us. By accepting our finitude, discovering our ultimate concern, and cultivating faith, we can develop the courage to face life with strength and purpose. We turn to the profound wisdom of Carl Gustav Jung, one of the greatest depth psychologists of the 20th century. Jung believed that anxiety is not merely a medical condition or an unfortunate symptom to be eradicated. It is a message from the unconscious. It is a signal that something within us is out of balance, that we are not living in accordance with our deeper selves. Anxiety is the voice of the shadow, the repressed aspects of our psyche, demanding to be integrated. It is the cry of the soul, urging us to pay attention to the parts of ourselves that we have ignored or denied. Anxiety, at its core, stems from disconnection. Disconnection from our true selves, from others, and from a meaningful existence. Jung spoke extensively about individuation, the process of becoming one's true self. This journey requires us to confront the shadow, to acknowledge our fears, insecurities, and unfulfilled desires. When we suppress these aspects of ourselves, they manifest as anxiety. Social media, with its curated perfection and relentless comparisons, exacerbates this disconnection. We lose touch with our authentic selves, and instead, we become fragmented, striving to meet unrealistic standards that are not our own. The nature of anxiety. Jung saw anxiety as a direct consequence of inner conflicts between who we are and who we think we should be. Modern society, and particularly social media, intensifies this inner struggle by presenting a distorted mirror of reality. We compare ourselves to idealized versions of others, leading to feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and existential dread. Jung also emphasized the collective unconscious, the shared reservoir of human experience and archetypes that shape our thoughts and behaviors. Anxiety, in this sense, is not just personal, it is cultural. In today's society, where success is measured by external validation, many suffer from an existential crisis. We do not know who we are outside of likes, followers, and digital approval. This artificial reality distances us from our true nature, intensifying our anxiety. Coping with anxiety. A Jungian approach. Jung provided us with a roadmap to address anxiety, one that goes far deeper than surface-level coping mechanisms. He urged us to look inward, confront our shadows, and realign with our true nature. Integration of the shadow Jung taught that we must face our fears, not suppress them. Anxiety often arises when we deny our true desires, emotions, and instincts. By acknowledging and accepting these aspects of ourselves, we take the first step toward healing. Instead of pretending to be perfect online, embrace your flaws. Recognize that being human means being imperfect. True growth comes not from avoidance, but from confrontation. Shadow work, as Jung called it, is a crucial step in dealing with anxiety. This involves reflecting on our negative emotions, fears, and insecurities, and bringing them to consciousness. Instead of allowing them to manifest as anxiety, we can understand their origins and integrate them into our identity. This process may involve journaling, psychotherapy, or deep self-exploration. Embracing solitude and reflection. Social media keeps us in a state of perpetual stimulation, leaving little room for self-reflection. Jung emphasized the importance of solitude, time away from external noise to listen to the inner voice. Meditation, journaling, or simply being alone with one's thoughts can help reconnect with the deeper self. In silence, we hear the whispers of the unconscious, guiding us toward wholeness. Consider the impact of silence in a world obsessed with connectivity. The more we are plugged into the digital world, the less we are in tune with ourselves. Carl Jung's teachings remind us that anxiety is not an enemy but a guide. It reveals the fractures within us, urging us to embark on the path of individuation. In a world dominated by digital illusions, the greatest rebellion is to know oneself. Social media may feed our anxieties, but it does not define us. We are more than our online presence. We are souls yearning for depth, meaning, and true connection. So, let us step away from the screens, confront our shadows, and embrace the journey toward wholeness. Let us reclaim our true selves in a world that tries to mold us into something else. In doing so, we transform anxiety from a burden into a beacon, guiding us back to who we were always meant to be. We are Interceptor.